Hello students, welcome to Joy Study Point. I hope you all are fine. So today we are starting with this poem, A Work of Artifice, which has been composed by Marge Piercy. So in this poem, using a bonsai tree as an extended metaphor in her poem, A Work of Artifice. So here, poet Marge Piercy comments on the manner in which women are regarded by society. So in this poem, we will discuss about the situation of a woman in the society. So now we are starting stanza-wise and line by line explanation. So before stanza-wise explanation, we are discussing some important words related to this poem. So first word is bonsai. Bonsai means is the Japanese art of growing ornamental artificially dwarfed varieties of trees and shrubs in pots. Pruned means trim. Trim or to cut the trees to give them short height. Croons. Croons means soft musical tones with the voice. Whittles. Whittles means shorten. Shorten or to cut something. Dwarf. Dwarf means to make smaller. To make smaller something. Crippled brain. Crippled brain means to silence and curtail women's thoughts and emotions. Women's thoughts and emotions to keep them from achieving independent knowledge and intelligence and depend on to think for them. So here crippled brain means to silence and curtail women's thoughts and emotions to keep them from achieving independent knowledge and intelligence and depend on to think for them. So now this is critical appreciation of this poem, A Work of Artifice by Marge Piercy is about the social limitation of women. Basically, this poem, A Work of Artifice, is talking about the social limitation of women. She shows how women are conditioned to live a limited life. So here in this poem, Marge Piercy shows how women are conditioned to live a limited life. The poem's central theme is the operation of women. So central theme of this poem is the operation of women. She compares the lives of women in society with the bonsai tree. So here you can see the comparison between the women in the society with the bonsai tree. So, the poem speaks against the patriarchal system followed in the most societies. The world has grown modern. You can see your world has grown modern, but those ancient and medieval customs still stop women from living a full and happy life. So they are bound to live like cage bird. These women, like women in the society, they are bound to live like cage birds. The bonsai tree in the poem is a potent symbol. Potent means powerful. Potent means powerful symbol and represents several things. It represents the operation of women, their inability to grow, and how society has kept them tied to ancient and medieval customs. So basically, this poem is about the operation of women, their inability to grow, and how society has kept them tied to ancient and medieval customs. Another theme that is noticed in the poem is men are tricky. These men are tricky and use it to their advantage to manipulate women. And this is evident through the use of bonsai tree, which is a metaphor representing all young girls and women. Bonsai means loss of growth and freedom. Basically, bonsai is a tree, but here bonsai represents growth, loss of growth and freedom. It also implies meaninglessness and life without space to grow, because bonsai is placed in a pot. So it doesn't have space to grow. So here it also implies meaningless and life without space to grow. Girls and women are restricted in their personal choice, and like the bonsai remain curtailed. Curtailed means to cut something, to make something short, remain curtailed in their growth and perspective. So here you can see we have discussed critical appreciation of this poem. Now we are starting stanza wise explanation, line by line explanation. So now we are starting line by line explanation. So the bonsai tree in the attractive pot could have grown 80 feet tall on the side of a mountain till split by lightning, but a gardener carefully pruned it. It is 9 inches high. So first of all, in these lines, in these 5 lines, the poet Marge Piercy wants to portray women's role at that time when she saw the women's position in the past, and she explains that the bonsai tree is placed in the attractive pot, and how it is given the opportunity could have grown 80 feet tall on the side of a mountain till split by lightning. So here Piercy uses a metaphor. To bring out the comparison between women and the bonsai tree here. And the bonsai tree in this line you can see she mentions attractive pot in which the bonsai tree is placed to the women's appearance, women's appearance. So she portrays a parallel to a woman growing naturally like a bonsai tree on the side of a mountain, but here like the potted bonsai tree, a woman is kept as a pet of her husband, or she is his possession like. And here she is also showing the stereotypical view of the society. The fact is, the speaker knows, the poet knows she has the potential. The women has the potential. All women have the potential to grow higher and stronger than he does. By stating that she could have grown 80 feet tall on the side of a mountain till split by lightning, and she knows and the men also knows that despite the fact she is a woman, she still has the distinct capacity to grow higher and stronger and more powerful than the societal norms and restrictions. And now these are the lines, but a gardener carefully pruned it. It is 9 inches high, means the potted bonsai tree is carefully pruned by a gardener, by the gardener, and by the gardener, which limits its height to 9 inches. So the use of the word, you can see the use of the word gardener. The gardener symbolizes man who prunes the bonsai tree. It is 9 inches, and it is 9 inches means It is 9 inches high means that the women's growth will always be restricted and limited, just like the indoor bonsai tree. Indoor bonsai tree. So the poet uses the visual imagery to show the limitation of women, visual imagery to show the women's role by drawing parallel to growth of the bonsai tree. Every day, as he whittles back the branches, the gardener croons, "It is your nature to be small and cozy, domestic and weak. How lucky, little tree, to have a pot to grow in." So first of all, I am explaining you these lines. So here the gardener every day prunes the branches of the bonsai tree. So here you can see in this picture, the gardener is pruning the branches of the bonsai tree so that it can grow in a proper manner. And here croons means sing. So the gardener sings to the bonsai tree that it is the natural for the bonsai tree to be small and cozy, to be planted domestically rather than growing on the mountain side. So the phrase you can see here, whittles back the branches, whittle back the branches, is a metaphor. It's a metaphor here. Metaphor for restriction and limitations imposed on women. And you can see here croons means here crooning is an example of auditory imagery which portraying that when this kind of man restricted the growth of women, they felt happy. When they restricted the growth of women, they felt happy about it, that women should accept. And the main thing is that the poet Piercy wants to portray that women should accept their destiny, that is to be limited by man. The limitations which is imposed by a man, and that is to be limited by man by saying this phrase, "It is your nature. It is your nature to be small and cozy." And these lines are showing the lower position of women than that of man in every aspect. So here these all lines shows you, these all lines are showing the lower position of women in the society than that of men in every aspect. Now I am explaining you these lines. How lucky, little tree, to have a pot to grow in. So here the poet says that the bonsai tree that has been pruned and height restricted. The bonsai tree you can see in this picture, it has been pruned by the gardener, and it is height restricted, is lucky to have a pot to grow in, to have a pot to grow in, and is not exposed to the elements, and is not exposed, and you can say it is not allowed to expose the elements of nature. So here Piercy portrays the iconic situation that women, in spite of these limitations placed on her, to be happy. So here little tree, you can see here little tree is a symbol which represents women who were expected to be too small in all ways when compared with man. So little tree is a symbol representing women who were expected to smaller in all ways when compared with man. With living creatures, one must begin very early to dwarf their growth, the bound feet, the crippled brain, the hair in curlers, the hands you love to touch. So, in these lines, Piercy want to highlight the view of society at that time about women should be shaped by men as soon as possible. So you can see here, women should be shaped by men as soon as possible, just as the bonsai tree must be dwarfed as soon as possible before the tree grows by. Similarly women should be shaped or limited. So Piercy reveals what she felt when she was girl. She had been shaped and limited by her mother. So Piercy reveals actual her life, like what she felt when she was girl. When she was a girl, she had been shaped and limited by her mother. In these lines, she tries to emphasize the presence of women in the poem by using visualization of bound feet here in curlers, which symbolize limitations and restrictions on women. And now the hands you love to touch. So in these lines, the last two lines of the poem present the greatest challenge when trying to decipher. So here the poet trying to decipher the hidden meaning of the poem. The hands you love to touch. This projects the message of do not bite. Do not bite the hands. Do not bite the hands that feeds you. So this poem this projects the message of do not bite the hands that feeds you. So students, I have described you explanation of this poem line by line. I hope so you like the explanation. If you liked it, so please like the button. So please press the like button and subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon also. Thank you everyone.